Roma Kaye Kenino Gasi Kunte Sangdang Mururuzu Jizong Dhamma Roma Kaye Kenyin no Gazi Kunte Sangdang Mururuzu Yezong
Hey Austin, sitting here in this beautiful spot. Can you tell us where we're at?
Yeah, we're at a place called Islands in the Sky in western Sonoma County. Yeah, and that's to the west where the camera is. That's Pacific, and south over there. It's looking back over there. We got up early today at 5 a.m. and came up in order to so that we could be here for morning time. And it's a Wednesday, so there's just nobody here. And
Other than Wednesday, what else it is?
what's it? It's the winter solstice, so it's the shortest day of the year, and we've decided to make a ritual around this to basically just honor the fact that this is the shortest day of the year. Like these are the time markings of the earth. You know, you have summer solstice, the longest day of the year; winter solstice, the shortest day of the year; and then the equinoxes. You know, spring and fall, which is where there's 12 hours of light and darkness on all parts of the world, which is an incredible idea. Anyways, in order to do that and to again welcome the beginning of winter, we've decided to come up here and not only just be in nature, but to engage it in a particular way. Christiane and I have both been instructed by our particular guides and consultants that we need to wed ourselves to the land. That actually we're in a place where we're separated from people that we love right now, and in that whole sense of being separated, there's also an opportunity for us to feel to build that sense of connection that is always already available. And so often in our lives, our connection is to a beloved or to a cause or to this or that. And I think part of what we're doing here is actually saying, well, we're always already connected, even though we think otherwise. And yet at the same time, so often in my own mind, for the challenges that I'm going through in my particular life, I often feel very isolated. And so we're up here today to reconnect ourselves, to begin the process of wedding ourselves to the land. And this is a very traditional practice. Indigenous groups throughout the world have done this forever. But as Westerners who feel somewhat detached in the world and challenged by just the sort of the scientific view that we're in here and there's a world out there, and they don't mix necessarily. So the basic look at the day today is that we're gonna begin. We've hiked up here. We made offerings at the beginning of the trail just to ask for protection and ask permission to come here. And then we are going to do a grief ritual, and grief ritual that was presented to me by a man named Francis Weller, who also worked with a person named Melodoma Some. And the grief ritual is really an opportunity for us to let go. And we're going to kind of build a container. There's a beautiful centipede going along here right now. We are maybe a millipede. I'm not entomologist, but there it is. It's almost like a snake, and snakes are often, about healing energy. So, yeah, our goal here today, or at least our intention here today, is to, first of all, let go of the things that don't serve us, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, start to bring in the things that actually do nourish us and do help us and serve us over time. And so we're going to begin here with the grief ritual. And the basic idea of this particular grief ritual is just, we're going to ask permission to dig holes in the earth about the size of our head. We're going to put our heads into that after making some offerings of tobacco and some water. And then we're gonna allow our grief to pour forth out into the land, and to be composted. In some traditions, they say this is hucha is everything that does not serve you. So the negativity, the thoughts, the fears, the sense of separation are those things that we're wanting to let go of, so that we can bring in that sense of connection. We can bring in the ways in which we want to contribute to the world, and also that we can have a more deeper, meaningful experience by feeling that innate, always already happening connection that is always available. And for example, if I just think for a moment, it's like, if you were to close off my nose and my mouth for a moment, and 7 minutes went by or so, I would be dead. There's always interchange and things that are happening with me in the world all the time, with all of us in the world. And yet there's still, because we are endowed with the gifts of creativity as human beings, we also have the ability to separate out from experience. And that's the challenge of being human, right? Is that, in order to create, so we need to be able to plan and carry things out, and also get help from others and resources and this and that. But when we stay in that place of being detached, that's really where we feel that sense of isolation. So today is a day of reconnecting, and it's to reconnect with the land. And then once we do the grief ritual, we're going to continue to walk down this canyon towards the ocean. And during that, somewhere along the way, Christiana and I are going to begin a formal process of courtship with the land. Basically saying, I want to have you as my primary partner in this world, in this lifetime. And the reason for that is to say, kind of always and unknowingly, the earth, the great mother, is the being that is keeping us alive moment after moment. And so often it's just taken for granted. But in this case, what we're doing is we're not taking that for granted. We're actually acknowledging this connection that has always been there, but we're formalizing it. And it's really not necessarily for the land, it's more for us to remember that. The land is doing its thing. It's almost like, oh yeah, here's the offering, take it or leave it. Yeah.
Well, I think that the land also, it's longing to connect to its creatures, and we being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Though we've kind of lost our way, we've forgotten the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, that is always what's happening. But we live in a world where this thing called nature is something we do on the weekend,
mm-hmm.
or in the afternoon we go maybe for a hike.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But we've forgotten that we are of nature, we come from nature, we go back to nature. These bodies are nature, and we live, we're separate or above it or somehow. So we're just honoring what already is.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there, because exactly, whether you're in a national park or whether you're in, the downtown of a major metropolis, you're still on land, and there's still nature. Nature is unfolding within those places as well. It may not look like a picture of Yosemite Valley or the Grand Canyon, but it's still nature.
Or islands in the sky.
Or islands in the sky. And that is actually one of the things that also needs to happen is that within the cities, there's still, again, nature is always unfolding. And so Christian working as a builder and me as an architectural designer, we're still, the beauty of the work that we do is it's always taking place on land, and so it provides a really profound opportunity to not only for us to continue to connect with land, but also to teach people that hire us these methods of connecting back with land, because without that connection back with land, we will not survive as a species. And the original humans were, the Homo sapiens were animists. They were deeply embedded and wedded to the land. They moved over the land. They changed with the seasons. They knew what they could forage. They knew how to hunt. And there was a sense of not only tending to the land to make it better, but also, building their cultures and their ways of life from a more direct connection with nature. And so,
yeah, isn't it crazy? To me it's crazy that days like today, it's not a national holiday. Today,
right,
it's a day that it's way more significance to us as beings on this planet. There's rhythms on this planet. The sun, moves, and today's it moves and goes away, and we have less access to it, and it comes back in. This impacts our whole nervous system, and our whole body is impacted by this. And these should be honored. This should be a holiday. Everyone should take this day off today to connect to honor the change of the seasons. And what's crazy, it's the shortest day of the year. All of nature, all of life has slowed down. Like a lot of animals go into hibernation. And we are like one of the busiest time of the year. We're like family and presents and holidays, and it's just people are extra busy during this time of the year, where Mother Nature is saying, slow down, could go inward. It's so much darkness. Spend some time in the darkness. Connect to the elements, connect to yourself, come home to yourself. Instead, we're rushing to malls and all this such disconnected activities.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. During one of you said it beautifully. This is the time of rest and renewal, and for so many of us, it also becomes challenged by this thing of lots of socializing, lots of gift giving, lots of consumerism, lots of consumption, and it's not really in line with what the season is actually, this time of year, what it's asking for, which is actually to go in, and again, it's both going inwards, but it's also by going inwards and without the distraction, you also start to feel a sense of the world around you on a more profound level. But you have to slow down to do that. I mean, there's so many ways that we keep ourselves super busy all the time, distracted from the radiant splendor that is always already available, the stuff that is always here, that if you were just to take the time, you would actually you'd experience on a more profound level and a more sustaining level. When you realize the richness of what's happening in each and every moment, and when you're able to connect with the nature again that's either out here or within a city, we should just say, or more so, like connect with life, then you don't need all those other distractions that are out there, right? You don't need to have constantly could be consuming things, either materially, either in terms of ideas or concepts, or even trying to have exalted spiritual experiences that are, again, designed to sort of transcend your reality, and then when you're done with the experience, you just drop back in and be like, oh shit, it just happened, So it's about really recreating that balance, and so that's principally what we're up to today. So first of all, again, we're going to do a grief ritual to let go of things, and then later on we're going to do a kind of a courtship ritual with the land in order to start to formally rebuild that connection to the land. We've had, like, Christiana and I have had a strong connection to land for a long time, but it's only recently we recognize it's like, oh yeah, and it's coming out of loss. It's like What are the things that need to be done so that it's like we're being urged on to say, look, there's this being called the earth, called Gaia, called this the living, the biosphere. It wants to be in relationship with you, and we're taking that on today. We're just that is, we've been planning this over this last week. It's both arisen in our consciousness over the last several months, and it's a time in the world right now where it's critical for folks like us to do things like that. Many of the indigenous elders say that 2026 is a huge watershed year, by which we need to get more people in resonance, not just amongst other people, but with the land, because the land has so much consciousness to it, that we are here in a process right now of again, doing that for ourselves, and through our work, hopefully helping other people to also feel a deeper connection to this world that we've been dependent on since the very beginning, but we've also neglected in the last, for a good long while now. So
Okay.
that's our day. Sang nang uru ru je zong ban ma ro ma kaye ken yin no ga sin kun te sang dang uru ru zo ye zong Mm-hmm.